848 KPEL, welcome back to Acadiana's Morning News as we count down now 2 weeks to the general election. Early voting, though, starts today. And one of those names you'll see on the ballot in the 3rd Congressional District, Bryan Barrilleaux, joins us in studio now. Good morning.
Good morning. Pleasure to be with you.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in. You live in Lake Charles, right? So you came over from there today.
Correct. I drove over from Lake Charles this morning. It's a pleasure to be with you. We have very nice weather all the way over. It's a pretty day outside.
It's a great day for driving, and no problems, luckily, on I-10 today.
Correct, and no traffic problems.
Good to have you. Well, we will continue our 5-question series here with Bryan Barrilleaux. Again, he is a candidate in the 3rd Congressional District. Let's go ahead and start with what makes you stand out from the rest of the crowd. There are several other contenders for this race. Really, what's the biggest thing that makes you stand out?
Mm-hmm. And there are several. There's more than just several contenders in this race. And just among the Republicans, there's 7, 8, 9 of us that have a lot in common, that we're all Republicans, we're all conservative, we're all pro-life, we're all pro-Second Amendment. And we all agree that there's something wrong in Washington, that Washington is broken. But my candidacy is very different in several very important ways that I'd like to share with you. The first is that we all agree that Washington is broken, and that the reason Washington is broken is because Congress is broken. And Congress is broken because our Congress has been thoroughly corrupted by campaign money that changes hands. It buys influence, it buys access to power, and it corrupts our government. We get poor laws, we get poor representation, we get poor government. And the way to solve that is with our good citizenship to tell them no and not vote for people who take the money. And that's what I'm doing. I run with no campaign donations. Haven't ever taken a campaign donation and never will. And I don't spend any money. I'm not spending my money, and I'm not spending anybody else's money on a campaign. So that when I serve in Congress, I will serve your interests and the interests of the people in Southwest Louisiana with no conflict of interest. There will be no lobbyists that will be buying my vote, no lobbyists that will be trying to influence my opinions. So I'll serve the interests of the people of Southwest Louisiana. Now, I'm also different from the other candidates in a couple of other very important ways. I'm the only candidate who has been nominated to run for this position, and I was nominated to run by a petition of 1,366 registered voters who signed a petition, and with their signature on that petition, they are attesting for all of the voters all across the district that the ideas of this candidacy and this candidate are both worthy and capable. And that is the most authentic way for a candidate to enter the ballot. And I'm the only candidate who is on the ballot that is nominated by petition. And third, I don't know that we'll have time to talk much about the details of it, but I have some very good, original, conservative plans. One in particular is about Social Security, and I would invite your listeners to perhaps go to our website and read more about that, because it really is a very good plan.
Let's talk about jobs in our state. A lot of what you'll do is to bring to light issues in the state to the Washington crowd. With the oil industry and the turmoil that it's in, how will you help to restore jobs and the industry as a whole?
There'll be a very important role for our congressmen to help with oil and the problems that we're having now with employment, with the loss of jobs in the oil and gas industry is devastating to this area and to our state. And there are important things that we can do at a federal level. Now, the problems that we're having now, of course, are a result of the low price of oil, low rig counts, less activity in exploration and drilling. And if the price were higher, there would be more activity, but that would be a disadvantage for our rice farmers. It would be a disadvantage for our sugar farmers, certainly for our shrimp fishermen. So we don't want a high price, but what we want is a profitable position for our oil and gas industry so that we can return to more robust activity, more robust and full employment. And the way to do that is, I think from the federal government point of view, is to help the industry and all industries in the country to realize a better opportunity to lower the production costs so that we can compete internationally. Right now, our oil and gas competes poorly against very inexpensive production costs in the Middle East, and that's why this low price is so devastating for us and not quite so devastating for them. And they intentionally manipulate the supply, they manipulate the price in ways that exploit and harm us. So what can the federal government do? And I think some of the things that Mr. Trump has been suggesting that I'm fully in support of. One is to lower the corporate income tax, and that then would lower the tax on our oil industry as well as many other industries that would allow them to compete better internationally. A second thing we can do is remove needless expenses, things like Obamacare expenses and other needless regulations that add cost to our oil production and help them to lower costs in that way. And then third, there are public lands that may be more accessible at a lower cost than perhaps deep water drilling that would allow us to produce oil at a lower cost. And if, from the federal government point of view, we would make those public lands more available, then we could help to lower the cost.
If 2 weeks from today we are talking about Bryan Barrilleaux taking the victory, going to Washington, what is your first order of business?
First order of business, I think, is going to be to establish relationships with other congressmen and realizing that to get things done for us, it's going to take good cooperation with others in Congress. So if, for example, like our interest in promoting our oil and gas, that's going to be very important to us. But if we make it attractive to other states and other districts by including corporate taxes that would benefit them as well, that I think that we can find good common ground. So I think establishing relationships with the other districts and establishing a relationship with the transition team for the Trump people, I have some very good ideas that I'm anxious to bring that I think will complement his agenda.
Question 4 has to do with race in our country and different aspects and the different things we've seen in the last year or two. How does that factor into your decision-making process, or how would it if elected?
Race in decision-making?
Well, you know, on different
I would say that
pieces
as
of legislation or
a public servant and in public office, that I would conduct the office without regard to race, as is required by our Constitution and also required by my conscience to do that without regard to race.
And our final question is, what do you think might be the biggest misperception that may be out there about you? That's our final question for all candidates. Is there one big misperception out there about you, one thing that you would like to say, make sure that people know?
Misperception, I don't know. If there are misperceptions, perhaps that the idea of running without spending any money is too idealistic, perhaps. But I counter that by saying, no, our good citizenship is what's required for this country to maintain the republic that our Constitution created. And without our good citizenship, our country suffers. You know, many people say things such as, you get the government you deserve, and it's the corruption in government that we allow. And if with our good citizenship we can overcome that, I don't think that's too idealistic, although I've been accused of that.
All right, Bryan Barrilleaux joining us in studio, candidate for the 3rd Congressional District, the seat in Congress as well. We appreciate your time today, sir. Good luck. 2 weeks from today, general election starts. Obviously today, early voting starts.